Well, with a new year, I thought it would be smart to get a financial tune-up, get ourselves in fiscal fitness. I guess that's what I was trying to say. We're going to speak with our friend Andrew Schwartz of Schwartz & Schwartz in Woburn, who always helps us out with this. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, George.
You got a bunch of tips. In fact, you have an article that you wrote. We're going to give the website at the end so people can see the whole article if they want to. But we're going to go down the list here because you have some pretty important things to keep in mind when you're looking over your finances for the new year. And a lot of REs, R-E, starting with reset your retirement savings. What do you mean by that?
Well, this all started with your New Year's resolutions that starts with RE. So the first resolution is to reset your retirement savings. In January, it's a great time to instruct your employer to withhold the amount of money each week or every 2 weeks from your paycheck, so you hit your retirement savings goal. This year, the maximum you can put away into your 401k plan at work is $17,500, and if you're 50 or older, you can do an extra $5,500 for a total of $23,000.
Wow.
But to reach that goal, a person wants to put away $1,458.33 per month.
Which not everybody can do, but you got to be comfortable with this, right?
So if you can't hit the max, then a person now should figure out the most that they can put away during the year and get on a budget to put away that amount of money every week or every 2 weeks, and that's the easiest way to reach a savings goal for the year. So even if somebody can only afford $50 or $100 every pay period, that's a great start, and that money will grow. And
this is basically thinking long-term. Yes, it'd be nice to get all the money from your paycheck, but down the road, you'll be glad that you did this, correct?
Correct. Plus, money contributed will most likely reduce somebody's taxable income
True.
Unless they put money into the Roth, and the money grows tax-deferred. So it's one of the best tax shelters available to people during their working years.
All right, the next one, refinance your home mortgage. Now, mortgages aren't quite as crazy low as they were, but they're still pretty good, right?
Yeah, mortgage rates are still very low compared to where they've been historically. So it's still a good time if your rate is a little bit high to lock in a lower fixed rate for 15 years or for 30 years and take advantage of the low interest rates.
We're speaking with Andrew Schwartz of Schwartz & Schwartz in Woburn, a financial tune-up for the new year. This is a biggie. Reduce your personal debt. Talk about that, if you would.
I think over time, people and businesses seem to have forgotten that money borrowed needs to be repaid.
Right. Yeah. So, that little detail about all that.
Yeah, that little detail. So I suggest to make 2014 a year to pay down some of your personal debt.
And how does someone do that?
Well, same thing. At this time of the year, take a look at how much you owe in personal debt and figure out what you can reasonably afford to pay down during the year and get on a monthly budget of allocating a portion of your take-home pay towards paying down those debts. And
this is an important thing, and we both know that I am not a financial expert by any stretch, but one of the common sense things is don't live beyond your means. If you want that big screen TV, maybe hold off on getting that and instead pay down your debt.
Yeah, this day and age, you can get a nice 42-inch flat-screen TV for what, $300 or $400?
Right. Or maybe that's not a good example with TV prices down, but you know what I mean. Don't, buy something if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't get yourself deeper in debt, basically.
Yeah, pay yourself first, and paying yourself includes paying down your personal debt.
All right, the next one, revise your savings and debt reduction goals. Talk about what that means.
Same thing. At this point of the year, that you basically have a clean slate. So take a few minutes to set a new savings goal, including how much you'd like to put away towards your retirement, a child's education, and maybe towards the down payment of a home or a vacation home. And you also, at this point, want to reset how much you want to pay down towards your debts, your mortgages, your student loans. By doing it now and kind of getting on a monthly budget, you have a much better chance of reaching those goals.
And I also think sometimes it's helpful just to see the stuff on paper, just to, like you said, sit down and really look over kind of what you can save, what your debt is. And by seeing it in front of you, you get a much better handle on it.
Yeah, I agree. And then by seeing it in front of you and then taking it one step further and putting together a little written plan for the year, you have a better chance of meeting your goals and saving some money or getting a little bit less in debt. We're
speaking with Andrew Schwartz, giving us some tips on tuning ourselves up financially for the new year. And we're going down his list of Re's. Next one, rebalance your investment portfolio. Talk about that.
Well, the stock market had a great year, and I think Warren Buffett said it best when he says, "A simple rule dictates my buying. be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. So following a big run-up in the stock market, it's only natural for people to lean on the side of being a little bit greedy.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to lock in some of these gains, and you can do that by rebalancing your portfolio back to the original asset allocation. There's a lot of tools online to be able to rebalance your portfolio between large cap stocks, mid cap stocks, small cap stocks, international, bond funds. There's all these different asset classes, and if you use one of these tools, you'll figure out how you should allocate your different investments. How you should allocate your investment portfolio, and by rebalancing, you lock in the gains on the portion of the stock market and the bond markets that did the best, and you buy in the areas that did the worst.
Can we even simplify it a little bit more, if you don't mind, the whole balancing your investment portfolio? So basically what you're saying is determine where your money is in, like, how risky the stocks are. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, there's all these different classes that are consistent in the industry. There's large cap stocks, which are the biggest companies. There's mid cap, which is the middle-sized companies, and there's small cap, which are the smaller companies. And then there's stocks that are called growth stocks that are poised to grow. They don't have a lot of earnings now, but their earnings should grow over time. And then there's value stocks that are just consistently have done well over a number of years. So a portfolio will be allocated between large cap growth, large cap value, mid cap growth, mid cap value, small cap growth and value, and then you throw in international stocks and emerging market stocks, and then there's bond funds which don't invest in the stock market, but they invest in corporate debt. So there's all these different classifications, and there's scientific data about, based on your age and your long-term goals and your risk tolerance, how your money should be allocated. So this year, for instance, was a great year for certain segments of the stock market, but not a great year for the bond market. Well, your stock funds went up, your bond funds didn't go up, so you can lock in some gains by selling the portion of your portfolio that appreciated, and you use that to reset your asset allocation. Was that any more clear?
I think so, yeah. I mean, like I said, and I'll be the first to admit it, I'm not a financial expert by any stretch, but no, I think so. Basically, you need to figure out, how risky you want your investments to be. You can take risks and potentially earn a lot more money, but sometimes you just want to be safe and you need to strike that balance. That's what I'm getting anyway.
And by rebalancing, it forces you to sell the positions that did the best. So it forces you to lock in some gains.
Next one is tied into that. Recalculate how much your retirement savings will be worth when you retire.
Yeah, well, this is kind of an interesting number to look at. So based on how much you've already managed to save for your retirement and how much you're putting away each year, there's calculators online that will let you know how much income you could expect to have when you retire based on how old you're going to be when you retire and how many years you're going to live once you retire. So maybe it's shocking to find that number. Maybe it's comforting to find that number. But it makes sense to, at least every once in a while, calculate that number and just see how great or how dire things look.
We're speaking with Andrew Schwartz of Schwartz & Schwartz in Woburn and getting ourselves financial tune-up for 2014 with a new year. And we're talking about a lot of re's. The next one is revisit your life and disability insurance needs. This is one that I think people forget about.
Yeah, this is a very important part of anybody's financial health, and that's having adequate life insurance in place, which pays a settlement to your family or other beneficiaries if you sadly pass away. And then there's disability insurance, which is also very important, and that replaces your income if you become ill or injured and aren't able to work. Anybody who doesn't have sufficient life or disability insurance actually puts their family in a tough spot if something sadly happens to them.
So factor that in, make it a part of the whole financial plan.
And what could be more exciting, George, than sitting with a life or disability insurance salesperson, early in January?
There isn't much more exciting than that, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one, and again, this is a biggie. Resolve errors on your credit report.
Yep, so you can now get 3 free credit reports per year from this site called annualcreditreport.com. This site's maintained by the 3 credit report providers, and it's free, and each one is required to give you up to 1 free credit report per year. It's no obligation. They're not trying to sell you anything. This came out a while back as part of the transparency and to try to help people manage their credit and their debt better. So you order a credit report, you try to go through it as best you can, and hopefully you won't find anything too unexpected on the credit report. But if you do, you're better off dealing with those issues when you don't have somebody looking at your credit report to either give you a mortgage, give you a lease, hire you as an employee. You want to be proactive and keep your credit report clean.
What are some of the black marks that you can have in your credit report that might get in the way of getting a car loan or a mortgage?
Well, there could be credit cards or mortgages that have been paid off, have been closed, no longer exist, that are still shown as open on your credit report. And the more access to debt that you have, the lower your score. It could show missed payments when there are no missed payments. And there could be other items that showed up on your credit report that just aren't accurate and would make you more of a questionable credit risk to someone who's looking to extend credit to you.
And how fixable are things like that?
I think it's pretty fixable. It's there's a whole bunch of FAQs facts on this site and the annualcreditreport.com site, and it's fixable. It takes effort, but these credit reporting agencies do want to get it right. They don't want to put you in a bad spot.
Yep.
But it is dealing with people who have a desk full of work, and so I think it takes some persistence to get it fixed. But you can't get it fixed if you don't even know that there's a problem.
Right. That's a very valuable resource. I'll give that website again, annualcreditreport.com. And as Andrew said, it's run by the 3 companies that maintain the credit ratings, so you can go there and see how your standing is. Andrew Schwartz is with Schwartz & Schwartz, and he's our go-to guy for things financial. With a new year, always smart to take a look at what you got going on. All right, Andrew, before we give your website and a way to contact you, give a rundown of the REs, if you would.
Okay, so this is the resolutions to improve your personal finances. We have reset your retirement savings, refinance your home mortgage, reduce your personal debt, revise your savings and debt reduction goals, rebalance your investment portfolio, recalculate how much your retirement savings will be worth when you retire, revisit your life and disability insurance needs, and resolve errors on your credit reports.
Those all seem really helpful.
That was really annoying, I bet. You can find out more about me and my firm and the information that we provide at www.schwartzaccountants.com. And if you have any specific questions, I guess you can call, too. We have an 800 number, 800-471-0045.
The website, again, Schwartz Accountants with an S at the end, .com, and there's a wealth of information on there as well. Andrew Schwartz is with Schwartz & Schwartz in Woburn. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on and helping us think about some things that perhaps we don't always think about enough, and something that, boy, everybody could use some help with. So I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, George.